Welcome to another episode of Purpose NIL, where we transform college athletes into NIL entrepreneurs for a greater good. I'm your host and purpose coach, James M. Rink. And joining us again is John Locke, University of Oklahoma football tight end, the football player. John, welcome back to the show.
I'm glad to be here. I'm excited.
As a recap from the last episode, we were able to identify John's core feelings that he got from his greater good influencers of his father and his mother. John, if you wouldn't mind, remind the audience of what we were able to identify as your core feelings.
We were able to identify that both, especially my mom and my dad, were able to give me my core feelings are love, grateful, invest, passion, secure, peace, and inspire.
What John is going to do, and we want to encourage our audience listening to do as well, is to write a personal purpose statement for your life. So John was able to identify the core feelings that he loves to feel from his greater good influences of his mother and his father. We're going to use those words of feelings, connect them to actions and the things that he likes to do, to who he wants to influence for a greater good. Purpose of use formula is feelings plus actions plus people equal purpose. So, John, now looking at those feelings that you were able to identify, which of those feelings can you live by playing football and how?
I can live passion, inspire, grateful, and invest for sure. With passion, football has to be played passionately. I play the game of football extremely passionately because I have that love for the game. Those two kind of tie together. Inspire goes both ways, for the desire for me to inspire others by the way I play, but then the fact that I'm also inspired by my family history of football. And invest, you have to invest in your team, you have to invest in your teammates, and you have to invest in the game by practicing.
That's great. And what I loved in what you were answering is you found ways to both connect those core feelings internally of what you get and externally at what you give. Now, here's the one question that I have for you. One of your core feelings is secure. Are you giving the sense of security or feelings of security for those that you are blocking for as a tight end?
I would say absolutely. I would sure hope that, the people that I'm blocking for would say the same thing. That's definitely a goal.
And I would imagine that when you are blocking for those individuals, they feel grateful.
I would agree. I would most definitely agree with that.
And when you are making that aggressive blocking as a tight end, you're investing in your teammate behind you to move the ball forward. Do you feel like they can sense that you're investing in their well-being as well as the team's?
100%. Absolutely.
And the other thing that I also noticed is you said that you want to be passionate about playing. Do your teammates feel that passion, which then makes them feel passion as well?
Oh, absolutely. And it goes all around. I mean, I feel the passion from my teammates, and it gives me the motivation to be passionate about football. And I think it just goes back and forth.
It does go back and forth. So here's really what we're trying to identify is you feel these feelings that you love to feel, and those around you, whether you recognize it or not, are feeling those same feelings from you too. This is where we feel engagement in life and in our work. And what we do end up doing is creating a flywheel of purpose, where we're just living our purpose, and it's just a natural energy that we love to feel, we love to give. Now, what gets really exciting about sports is you typically get to play competitions in front of fans. Do your fans feel those same feelings that you love to feel watching you play?
I would for sure hope so. I think it can definitely be tougher for some of those to come across, but in the way I play would exemplify showing passion and showing that I'm investing in my team.
That's the one great thing about all sports and even in business. The shared humanity of purpose between you, your teammates, and the fans all comes down to a shared passion to win. Winning is a feeling. And I could guess from talking with you, you love the feeling of winning.
No better feeling.
And you probably hate losing more.
Oh, man.
Which is a feeling.
Yeah.
What I think is great, and I think the more you think through it, is as you go to practices and as you play football, is understanding the feelings that you love to feel are the feelings that your players and teammates need to feel from you, especially the love, grateful, invest, passion, inspire, and secure. Secure really kind of got my attention because I know you're known as a tight end, being able to block and provide a way through where other players wouldn't be able to get through. And what's really powerful in this is you're learning to live those feelings internally as well as intentionally externally, both to help you on a daily basis and to be able to go give those feelings to others. And as we're building your NIL brand, those are the same feelings that you want to go give to customers. So let's talk a little bit about your commitment as in academics. You also are a finance major. And what do you want to get your master's degree in?
So the master's will be in finance, but technically my undergrad is economics.
What do you hope to do with that degree, and why did you choose it?
Well, I hope to go into the investment banking, wealth management world. I actually have an internship at the start of May with a group called Allen & Company in New York. They're a wealth management and investment firm. So that's the route that I'm hoping to go. I feel like that once I'm done with football, that's going to be the best way for me to do what I love and get that same feeling that I get in football.
Excellent. And this tees up to where we're headed just great. So here's my question. As you visualize your summer internship, as you visualize life in business and in finance after college, looking at those core feelings that you've already been able to identify, can you see how those feelings would work in a career in finance?
Absolutely. 100%.
Which ones stand out the most as you look at your current list of core feelings?
I think passion and invest are the two that really jump out at me the most, because being passionate about what I'm going to do and being able to invest myself into what I'm going to do are going to be crucial and are going to eventually lead to giving me those other feelings in the workplace.
Also come back to this word secure, because people that work in finance, that's their real job, is to bring financial security to their customers. John, I love your core feelings, and I know how you're going to be able to build it into a purpose statement in these next couple episodes together. You are in a competition for customers, for talent, for trust, and now in the age of AI, competition for clarity. The leaders who will win the next decade, they'll be the ones leading technology with purpose. When you give your purpose to others and leverage it with AI, you amplify it. You gain real advantage of winning customers and talent. Most strategies aren't missing data, they're missing direction. At Purpose of You, everything is grounded in a simple formula. We use words of feelings plus action plus people to equal purpose. AI can take action. AI can analyze people as data, but AI does not have feelings. You do. That's your advantage. When you lead with feelings, you create real value. Feelings build trust. Feelings drive loyalty. Feelings drive decisions. You lead AI with intention and feeling. Technology becomes an amplifier of your purpose, not a replacement for it. As artificial intelligence increases, emotional intelligence must increase to lead it. That's how leaders align people and performance. Purpose isn't a slogan. It's not a side hustle. It's how you win on purpose.
Your purpose isn't a luxury. It's your greatest competitive advantage. Find yours at purposeofyou.com.
In preparation for today's Purpose NIL episode, I asked John to go through step number 2 of the Purpose of You masterclass, where he identifies the actions, the things that he just naturally loves to do. So John, what are the things that you just love to do? What are the core actions of your life?
The 5 that I really felt like were the actions of me, and I think it carries over because I was trying to see if there was a difference between me as a kid versus me now, but I've always kind of had those same core actions. And so what I got was achieve, dream, exceed, lead, and practice.
Those are all great action words. If you could, let's walk through each of them and give us a little bit of example of how you got to, okay, this is a core one. Let's start with the word achieve.
So with achieve, I've always held myself to a really high standard and always wanted to achieve the best in whatever it is that I'm doing. And that can be from playing a board game when I'm a kid to, a test, or in the sports world, whether it was football, basketball, or track growing up, and obviously football now, I've always wanted to achieve the best possible.
And how about dream?
Dream, I've always dreamed super big from the youngest I can remember to now. I've always never let my dreams had a ceiling. And at the time, it may have seemed crazy. I mean, I've had the dream of being an Oklahoma football player since I was in 3rd grade, and here I am now. And
okay, exceed. How did you get to that word?
It is that I am doing. I always want to exceed expectations. I always want to go beyond what people expect, and
that's great. How about lead? How did you get to that word?
Lead, I think, is probably the most valuable one on this list. From the moment I started playing sports, I naturally was always someone trying to lead. And it's not even just in, trying to be the best on the team, but just in terms of doing what's right, doing what puts us in the best position to win, and being the guy on the team that leads everyone in the right direction. It was through actions, through how I played, through how whatever I did, through just doing the right thing. I always wanted to be in a position where I was leading.
How about practice? How did you get to that word?
Practice is so important because I never want to go into something not prepared. Always wanted to maximize practice and make sure that I was as ready as possible for whatever it is that was coming. And to be honest, everything that I've practiced for, I always find a way to enjoy it.
Again, our formula to writing your purpose statement is feelings plus actions plus people equal purpose. The words of achieve, dream, exceed, lead, in practice will go really well with the core feeling words that you've already identified of love, grateful, invest, passion, peace, inspire, and secure. They're all great words that I know that you're going to be able to formulate into a purpose statement for your life that will immediately be able to be used as your NIL brand as you're building your personal brand for NIL opportunities in college, as well as your NIL brand founded on your purpose as you go into the workplace after football. And for all of our audience that's listening, they can do the exact same thing to building their own NIL. We all have our own NIL because it's all part of our personal brand, whether you're a realtor or whether you're a graphic artist or you're a CEO. So I always encourage people to found their NIL based on their purpose in life.
I'm just super thankful that I took the time to go through this masterclass and invest in myself to really discover my life's purpose. Because when we know our purpose and we're walking in that and we're helping them to feel a certain way, there is just such a joy and life in that. Take the time, go through the course, figure out your whys, figure out how you want to feel, figure out your actions. It's absolutely worth it.
Discovering your purpose can transform your life. Go to purposeofyou.com to learn more.
Next on Purpose NIL, I've got a little exercise that I want to throw at John. John, you're from San Antonio. Are you a Southwest Airlines fan?
I am. I've definitely flown.
All right. Well, in 1966, Herb Kelleher and Roland King, the founders of Southwest, met in San Antonio, Texas, to discuss the bright idea of starting a new airline that would connect 3 of Texas' largest cities, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. And on a paper napkin, they sketched out that triangle of flight patterns. Southwest's purpose is to connect people to what is important in their lives through friendly, reliable, and low-cost air travel. So, John, knowing Southwest as an airline, as well as its purpose, as well as your actions and feelings, how could you dream of taking your brand, your NIL, to help build either the corporate culture of purpose for Southwest or its customers?
So keeping in line with Southwest's statement, I think in the same way how they're able to connect us to what we love through their reliable service, I would hope that I can do the same thing through the work that I put in for football and what I do for the University of Oklahoma, and that others can see that and use that, and it can inspire them.
And I remember in the previous episode, you told the defining moment of trying to go from a high school football player to college, you needing to make a trip.
My dad took off work just to come up there and be with me on that trip. And then we flew straight from there to Atlanta at 3 a.m. to go to a rivals combine, which would get my numbers out there for all colleges to see. And then after that rivals combine, and then Colorado State coaches called me that morning at like 11 a.m. and gave me my first scholarship offer. And to see my dad cry and just the love that he showed for me right there. And then thinking back to, the process of my dad took off work and, spending all this time just to give me a chance to get out there where there's no guaranteed. It just truly made me feel so loved and so, I put secure. I had a lot of gratitude, super inspired for me to, as a father one day, because I want to be able to invest in my kids the way that he's invested in me.
What airline did you fly to make that trip?
I flew Southwest with me and my dad.
And what was that experience like for you, because you and your father were able to connect to what was important in your lives?
That whole trip in itself was very impactful on my life and the connection between me and my dad, because up until that point, that was the 5th camp that I was going to, and I hadn't had any schools bite. There'd been a lot of kind of back and forth, and so we had to fly to Denver. And by this point, I'm pretty exhausted. It's late June, and mentally, didn't have any offers yet, so I didn't have anything to really boost me to want to do it. But, on that flight, it's funny that, we talk about flying Southwest. He reminded me about how far I've come and what I'm there to do and to relax. And once again, gave me that feeling of peace and love, and that ultimately he was going to be there with me regardless of the outcome. And we were able to go up there to Fort Collins after flying to Denver and had a great camp, and obviously resulted in my first Division I scholarship offer.
See? Well, the good thing is you can always tell your personal story to help advance your NIL brand opportunity. And I always encourage people, especially the people in the audience, if your purpose doesn't fit the job that you're doing, you're not doing your employer or you any good. Find your purpose and be able to find a job that you can bring it to organically. That's one of the great things that I do love about Southwest Airlines and their employees. You can tell that their employees love what they do, and that's why they're there to do it. You are in a competition for customers, for talent, for trust, and now in the age of AI, competition for clarity. The leaders who will win the next decade, they'll be the ones leading technology with purpose. When you give your purpose to others and leverage it with AI, you amplify it. You gain real advantage of winning customers and talent. Most strategies aren't missing data, they're missing direction. At Purpose of You, everything is grounded in a simple formula. We use words of feelings plus action plus people to equal purpose. AI can take action. AI can analyze people as data, but AI does not have feelings. You do. That's your advantage. When you lead with feelings, you create real value. Feelings build trust. Feelings drive loyalty. Feelings drive decisions. You lead AI with intention and feeling. Technology becomes an amplifier of your purpose, not a replacement for it. As artificial intelligence increases, emotional intelligence must increase to lead it. That's how leaders align people and performance. Purpose isn't a slogan. It's not a side hustle. It's how you win on purpose.
Your purpose isn't a luxury. It's your greatest competitive advantage. Find yours at purposeofyou.com.
On a previous episode, John was able to share with us some of the stress and anxiety that he struggles with as a football player and a high achiever in academics. The stress of life. We're all going through mental health challenges. College students are no exception, especially athletes. We're living in a world of crisis. People are losing jobs. We're in a lot of global unrest. And unfortunately, it's going to stay this way until the 2030s. We've got a world of crisis that our students are graduating into. Purpose helps to transcend above the noise. So, in the last episode, John was able to share with us going through the Purpose of You assessment, which is free at purposeofyou.com, some of the things that he was able to learn about himself, things that he can readily identify with, he struggles with. John, what is one other thing that you have on your list that you were able to identify from the assessment?
One thing I was able to identify on the assessment was a question I really liked. Do you feel called to living your life in a greater, more significant way? And I had that one checked off as a yes, because I personally feel like that I'm a faithful person. I'm a Christian, and I feel like God has used my life for a lot of different things. But I think that He's called me in my life to use the platform that I'm on, that He knows that I've wanted for so long, to inspire others and to have other kids relate to my story and know that, they can be a third grader too and dream about playing somewhere big. And it can happen regardless of how crazy the path can get. And yeah, I really liked that question.
That's great. I love how you readily identify with living your life in a bigger way to influence people of your generation. That is fantastic. So you're a Gen Z. Gen Z cares more about purpose than they do a paycheck. However, trying to understand what purpose means to them is one of the reasons why I created Purpose NIL, to help empower people to figure out what purpose is. And you being a role model here, John, telling your story, being vulnerable, sharing your hopes, your dreams to serve a greater good and to live your life in a bigger way. You are living your purpose in a very significant way. And we're all thrilled that you're here with us on Purpose NIL. So, John, what is one thing you've learned about yourself and your purpose this last week?
This last week with the actions worksheet, I really loved it. And it gave me a lot of time to sit there and reflect on, because one of the questions in there is 5 core actions now versus 5 core actions as a kid. And when I went through the list and I was trying to narrow it down, I was really sitting there like, man, I have almost identical actions when I was in 2nd, 3rd grade to me now. I really don't think it's changed since I was a 3rd grader and had this dream of playing at the University of Oklahoma. And it really fascinated me to be able to sit there and really think about that, because those actions that I've enjoyed doing have been like that my entire life.
John, as always, we thank you for sharing your heart and your passion in life as you pursue and figuring out your purpose and living it. To our audience at home, make sure you follow John on X at John Locke, LOCKEOC, and on Instagram at John_Locke3103. For more information about Purpose of You's masterclass, as well as our free transformation assessment, go to purposeofyou.com. And be sure to follow me on social media at James M. Rink. On our next episode, John will identify the people that he wants to influence for the rest of his life, as well as his legacy. NIL for a lifetime is founded on purpose. These same strategies will work for you at home. John, you ready for our next episode?
I'm ready. I can't wait.
I want to thank John as well as the audience for joining us today. We'll see you on the next time of Purpose NIL.